Sarah, a single mother in her late 30s. She had always been devoted to her son, Noah, who was 10. With his bright smile and endless curiosity, he brought joy and purpose into her life. They shared a close bond, finding comfort in each other's company, creating a home filled with laughter, warmth, and love. Sarah's younger sister, Lily, had recently moved to the city for a new job, leaving her with a house full of memories and an empty nest. To lighten the load of her sister's absence and to strengthen their bond, Lily decided to send her son, Jake, to spend the summer with Sarah and Noah. Jake was a bright-eyed teenager with a youthful spirit and a kind heart, just entering his teenage years. The day Jake arrived, Sarah was at the door, arms open wide, ready to embrace her nephew. "Jake, welcome," she exclaimed, enveloping him in a warm hug that felt like home. "We're so glad to have you here." "Thanks, Aunt Sarah. It's great to be here," Jake replied, his voice tinged with excitement. He stepped inside, taking in the familiar sights, scents, and sounds of his childhood summers spent in his aunt's house. As days turned into weeks, the three of them settled into a cozy routine. They played board games, cooked meals together, and spent evenings under the stars, sharing stories and laughter. Sarah marveled at how quickly Jake had grown. He was no longer the little boy who used to follow her around. He was now a young man with dreams and aspirations. Their bond deepened, filled with affection, understanding, and a unique connection that came from shared memories and experiences. One evening, while watching the sunset from their porch, Jake turned to Sarah. "Aunt Sarah, can I ask you something?" he said, a hint of hesitation in his voice. "Of course, sweetheart. You can ask me anything," she replied, her heart swelling with love for him. "Do you ever feel lonely?" he asked, looking into her eyes, searching for honesty. Sarah paused, the question echoing in her mind. She had been lonely, especially after Lily moved away. "Sometimes, I do," she admitted, her voice soft. "But I have you and Noah here, and that makes it better." Jake nodded, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. "You deserve to be happy, you know. I want you to find someone who makes you feel loved." The conversation lingered in the air like the colors of the sunset, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. Sarah's heart raced at the depth of their exchange, the maturity in his words. But she quickly dismissed the thought, reminding herself that he was her nephew, and their bond was one of family love, not romantic. As the summer continued, moments of tenderness grew between Sarah and Jake. They found themselves sharing lingering hugs that lasted just a little longer than usual, their laughter mixing in the air as they playfully nudged each other during games. Sarah felt a warmth blooming inside her, one she hadn't experienced in years, but she brushed it aside, convincing herself that it was simply a natural affection between family. One rainy afternoon, they decided to watch a movie together. As they snuggled under a blanket on the couch, Noah fell asleep, resting his head on Sarah's lap. Jake looked at her, his eyes glistening with warmth. "You're really good at being a mum," he said quietly, almost reverently. Sarah felt her heart skip a beat. "Thank you, Jake. That means a lot to me," she replied, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. She could feel Jake's gaze lingering on her, and for a moment, the world outside faded away. It was just the two of them, wrapped in the comfort of each other's presence. After the movie, as Noah slept peacefully, Sarah and Jake decided to take a walk in the rain. They donned raincoats and splashed through puddles, laughing like children. The world felt alive and magical, with the soft patter of rain and the fresh scent of earth around them. In a quiet moment, Jake turned to Sarah, his expression serious. "Aunt Sarah, I know I'm just your nephew, but I want you to know that I care about you deeply. You're an amazing person, and I see how hard you work to make everything okay for Noah and yourself." His words washed over her like the rain, filling her with warmth. "You're so sweet, Jake. I care about you too. You've brought so much joy into our lives," she replied, her voice steady despite the racing of her heart. As they stood there, the rain soaking them, Jake took a step closer. "Can I kiss you, Aunt Sarah?" he asked softly, vulnerability in his voice. The question hung in the air, electrifying and beautiful. It was a moment that defied logic, a moment that blurred the lines of family love and something more profound. Sarah's heart raced, her mind racing with confusion. But there was something in Jake's eyes, an intensity that made her pulse quicken. "Jake," she started, but her words faltered as he leaned closer, tilting her chin gently. "Just one kiss," he whispered, almost pleading. "I promise it won't change anything. I just need to know." And before she could think, before her heart could catch up with her mind, he pressed his lips against hers. The kiss was soft and tentative, a gentle exploration that sent a wave of warmth through her. It was innocent yet charged with a deeper emotion, an unspoken understanding passing between them. Sarah pulled back, her breath quickening, eyes wide in surprise. "Jake, we can't," she stammered, her heart pounding. "I'm sorry," he said, quickly, stepping back, eyes filled with uncertainty. "I didn't mean to overstep. No, it's not that," she interrupted, her voice steadying as she searched his gaze. "It's just complicated. You're my nephew." "I know," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "But I feel something between us, Aunt Sarah, something real." Torn between the love she felt for her nephew and the confusion of emotions swirling within her, Sarah took a deep breath. "We need to talk about this," she said softly. "This isn't something we can ignore." They walked back to the house in silence, the rain soaking their clothes, their hearts heavy with unspoken feelings. When they reached the porch, Sarah turned to Jake, her heart aching with the weight of their newfound reality. "Let's take a step back and figure this out, okay?" she suggested, trying to maintain a sense of calm. "We can't rush into anything." Jake nodded, his expression serious but understanding. "I don't want to ruin what we have. I just needed you to know how I feel." "Let's just focus on enjoying our time together," Sarah replied, trying to quell the confusion swirling inside her. "We can talk more about this later." As the days passed, they found themselves navigating the delicate balance of their relationship. The affectionate hugs remained, the playful nudges continued, but the tension lingered in the air, unspoken yet palpable. They cherished their moments together, caught in a whirlwind of familial love and burgeoning emotions. One night, as they sat on the porch, the stars twinkling above, Jake spoke up. "Aunt Sarah, do you think we can ever be more than just family?" His voice was steady, filled with hope. Sarah sighed, her heart heavy. "I don't know, Jake. I want you to be happy, and I don't want to complicate our relationship." "I understand," he said, his eyes searching hers. "But I can't help how I feel. I care about you more than anyone else in my life." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes, the weight of their situation pressing down on her. "You're so important to me, Jake. I love you. But I'm scared of what this could mean." "Me too," he replied, reaching out to squeeze her hand. "But I think love can be complicated, and sometimes we have to embrace that complexity." As the summer drew to a close, Sarah and Jake faced the reality of their feelings. They found themselves leaning on each other, sharing secret smiles and knowing glances. Their connection deepened, evolving into a beautiful dance of love and understanding that transcended the norms of family. One last evening together, they sat in the garden, surrounded by blooming flowers. The sun set in a blaze of colors, and the air felt electric with possibility. Jake took Sarah's hand, intertwining their fingers. "I want to make this work, whatever it means for us," he said, his voice firm. Sarah felt tears brim in her eyes as she looked into his earnest gaze. "I want that too, Jake. But we have to be careful. I want to protect what we have, but I also want to explore this connection." They leaned in, their foreheads touching, breaths mingling. "We'll figure it out together," he whispered, and she nodded, a smile breaking through her tears. With that, they sealed their promise with a kiss, one filled with tenderness and a shared understanding that this love was different, beautiful, and utterly theirs. In that moment, they embraced the complexity of their emotions, the bond that was both familial and romantic, a unique connection that only they could navigate. As summer faded into fall, Sarah and Jake embarked on a new chapter of their lives, intertwined in a journey of love that defied conventions yet felt entirely right. And as they walked hand in hand, they knew that their love story, filled with kisses, hugs, and cuddles, was just beginning, a testament to the power of love in all its forms.